Welcome to Greywood Gardening. It is early May, and today we are talking about some gardening setbacks. We've had a couple significant ones already this year. The first of which happened right here in the seed starting layer a couple of months ago. 2 or 3 weeks after I had sown the first major seeds for the season, little Greywood's cat came in and decided that it liked eating seedlings. It ate almost all of our lettuce seedlings, and worse, ate almost all of our pepper seedlings. I was, of course, able to replant, but first I had to keep the cat out, and we're just in an open, unfinished basement here. So I ended up buying some bird netting online and hanging it from the joists all around the seed starting layer area. And then I just put sort of a board on the ground to hold the bottom down so the cat couldn't get underneath. And that seems to have worked. The cat is now staying out. I was able to replant, but the peppers in particular are a little bit behind. So here, for example, is one of the peppers, one of the few peppers that the cat did not eat, that grew just fine. And then here are the peppers that I have replanted. I think it was 3 weeks later. It was like 2 weeks into growing that the cat ate them, and then took a week for me to sort of seal off the area and start new seedlings. So this is not a big deal. We got a few more weeks for these to grow before they're going to get planted out, and then they will catch up with these larger ones, and by the time we get to August, you won't be able to see the difference. This shouldn't make a big difference in our harvest, but it did cause a little bit of chaos here in the seed starting layer as we were trying to come up with a solution to grow stuff without getting it all eaten. So the seed starting layer is clipping along now. We've already got replacement lettuce has been hardened off and planted out. But we have right here is just cat grass that we take out for the cats to chew on. But otherwise, here in the seed starting layer, we have onions and leeks growing. We have some globe thistle, thyme, and some peppers. Over here we have false nettle, which did not germinate well, some more globe thistle, and a bunch of perennial sage that's going to go in the butterfly garden. We have parsley. Hiding behind that is the basil. We have more pepper. This is purple coneflower for the butterfly garden. This is creeping chamomile. Over on the other side, we have a bunch of nicotiana for the butterfly garden and some chamomile. More peppers. We have a bunch of annual sages for the butterfly garden and salvia and more peppers. More peppers and tomatoes. We have some cilantro and tarragon just sprouting. And underneath the table, we have a bunch of strawflower and statice. And we're actually going to be growing it in the veggie garden. The other setback we've had this year is a little bit more significant, which I have managed to break one of my ribs, like a minor shoulder blade separation from the shoulder, and I did a number on my toe. So I am pretty gimpy in almost every way I can be. And this is a rough time of year for that. One of the things I wanted to do this year was build the last of the raised beds in the veggie garden. So we've made the decision that that's just not going to happen. I'm not going to get to it this year. I think the raised bed I was going to build was going to hold onions, leeks, and scallions. So I'm now trying to find other areas in the veggie garden I can sneak those in. And I think for most everything else that needs to be done now, we're mostly going to lean on friends and family to come in and do all the work that I can't help out with very much right now. And the first of those chores is planting our potatoes. Last year, we planted potatoes in pots for the first time. We loved it. It was fantastic. So this year, we have a lot more pots and a lot more potatoes to plant. And Mrs. Greywood has volunteered to come out and do that planting. right, so this is all we have potting soil for now, but we do have more seed potatoes. We'll probably get more potting soil. The good news is last year we were thrilled with our harvest that we got off of just 5 of these pots. And right now we have 12, including these new fabric potato grow bags we bought. They were really, really cheap, and they're really big. They're a little bigger than these big pots we have. The downside is we used 6 bags of potting soil just to plant these, and obviously we're going to need more potting soil to top them up as the potatoes grow. So I love growing the potatoes in pots because it is just so easy, and it makes harvesting so easy, it makes hilling up so easy. But there is a definite price associated with that, and I think I would only do this if you can get the potting soil from the big box store when it's really, really cheap. Not worth getting it with the everyday prices. So that said, we have a bunch more seed potatoes, and we have just a ton more of these fabric pots, so we might go get some more potting soil and add a little bit to the collection. Last year we just did red potatoes. This year we did red and russets, and I'm excited to have a massive potato harvest just here in our spare space growing on our walkways. And if we need the space for anything, we can just move the pots. That's awesome. It is the middle of May now, and I am still limping and gimping around. So I have Grandma and Grandpa Greywood are here with little Greywood to help do a little bit of planting and prepping here in the veggie garden. We've got more lettuce to plant out. We've got the broccoli hardened off and ready to plant out. And I have a whole bunch of seeds to direct start, including sweet corn, starting a little bit earlier than usual because the ground is really warm. We have all of the squashes. We have zucchini, we have pie pumpkins, we have butternut squash, mini pumpkins. We're going to try to do a little bit of weeding, and if we have time, we might get down to the butterfly garden to do some direct seeding there as well. So this is the mint bed, and it is a good example of why you want to keep your mint contained. I planted last year just a tiny 3-inch peppermint plant over here and spearmint plant over here. Obviously both of them are doing incredibly well. The peppermint is going gangbusters and trying to get out and succeeding. I buried this board between the two to try to keep the peppermint on the peppermint side and the spearmint on the spearmint side. But the peppermint has found this little crack where the board doesn't quite butt up against the sidewall and has spread out and is growing on this side, and it did the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to need to dig that out now. But one fun thing I saw is it's actually the peppermint is escaping out of the side of the bed through the crack, and the spearmint is actually doing the same thing over here. So again, just need to pull those out. Oh. The key is you have to stay on top of it. If you get behind, even just a little bit behind like I did here, it can be problematic, and I'm really worried that... Oh! Yeah, so these roots are actually coming over like 6 inches down in the ground as these roots spreading. I'm really having to go deep to stop this. Alright, well, that should have them pretty well separated for now. I just need to stay a little bit more on top of this than I was, clearly. And hopefully the peppermint doesn't come under this and come up. Because if it does, I think I might just lose my spearmint, because if I can't keep it out, there's no way the spearmint is gonna win that battle. It is the second half of May now, and I thought this would be a great time to check in on the winter sowing. So all this is seeds that I planted at the end of February, tossed them in here with some dirt and water, and put them outside in the snow, and they have sat out here ever since without me doing anything at all to them. And it looks like almost all of them are growing great. We've got milkweed, rattlesnake master, poppies, snapdragons. One of them, though, in here I had prairie smoke and nothing germinated. And this seems to be pretty consistent for me. I'll plant a winter sow a bunch of stuff, and there's always one or two that don't germinate at all, and I can never tell which they'll be because I've grown prairie smoke before. But it's a great way of getting more plants started, particularly flowers that require stratification like the milkweed does, but also just in general, it doesn't require space in the grow room, under the lights, with heating mats, so it makes life a lot easier. Alright, that is everything I have for you on this video. Next time is going to be the end of May, and that means it is planting time here at Greywood. The vast bulk of our planting goes in over sort of an elongated Memorial Day weekend. And this year we have more than ever because I'm determined to work on filling up the butterfly garden, which means I have flat after flat after flat of plugs and seeds that I started that need to go in. So until then, happy gardening.